We want research students who've got a keen interest in policing. I mean, that's policing could be the maintenance of public order, it could be the police service, it could be an interest in security generally, and the police form some part of it. So we don't define it particularly narrowly. Secondly, we don't say you have to support the police service. We're interested in people who are what we might call critical friends, or people who are just plain critical, who feel that the police service really needs to be improved. And we're also interested in those insiders, those people who perhaps work with the police service and do have a more supportive view, but also a more sort of practiced view, and we're interested in what they've got to say. What we provide are two things. Firstly, we provide supervision. We've got several people who've got lots of completions at that level, and we've got the expertise to guide you through. And the second thing, which is really important in terms of this subject, is we can facilitate access. So because we've got such strong links to national policing institutions like the College of Policing, but also to our local police force, Merseyside Police, and other police services, we feel that we'll be able to give the student access to the kinds of data that other universities might struggle to do. The policing landscape is changing all the time, politically and to do with changes sociologically. So we have to be flexible in our approach, and we think we do several things. Firstly, we look at issues emerging within the police service. So I've got a colleague of mine, Heather Panter, who's just published the first study of experiences of transgender police officers in the UK and the US. So things that might be emerging within the occupational culture, and we can provide methodologies and insight into that. That's important. Secondly, we look at the wider agenda of policing, what's going on there. So another colleague of mine, Yaron Eski's just published a piece around corruption and port security, trying to sort of answer an age-old question, but looking at the new methods of how illegal drugs get into, in this instance, Holland. How does that process work, despite the way law enforcement has put resources in to counter these things. And then thirdly, we look at emerging problems, and we look at the evidence, we look at what evidence base we can bring to solve them. So some examples of that are, if we're looking at body-worn cameras, we might be able to do random control samples and have one group of people with the cameras and another group of people without. So that would be using sort of standard methodology to apply to a policing problem. Or alternatively, we'd be the first ones in to provide, I suppose, a social science approach to policing problems. So an example of that might be to do with trafficking, where the police service might not be able to talk to trafficking victims or even traffickers in the way that the academics can do. We're currently fielding inquiries from local police forces and national police forces. We're working with the local police crime commissioner and other police crime commissioners across the UK. And if you have kind of particular crime problems, so an issue with gangs or organised crime or offender management, and you'd like some research advice or researchers to come in and evaluate what you're doing, then we've got the resource and we've got the interest in doing that. So please be in touch. The second sort of way you can get in touch is if you're a student and you're interested in progressing a project of yours. Now that might be doing a master's thesis, it might be doing a professional doctorate or a doctorate. Then please be in touch. I mean, some of the key things here to think about is, if you're interested in a crime problem, then we can broaden it out for you. We can start thinking about what kind of methods you might want to use for your research. But if you're interested in a policing problem, then we can certainly help with access and the methodology. And then finally, I suppose, is if you're interested in a particular crime problem, say trafficking or drugs, and you're thinking, the key thing for myself here is I just don't know what the data is. I don't know, how I can quantify that problem and who keeps the data. Then again, get in touch, because the kinds of access we have with the wider security sector and the policing sector is something we can certainly help with. And then we can steer you into making sure you have a clear proposal for further action.